All right, welcome to another deep dive with yours truly. Today we are going to be unlocking some fascinating perspectives on achieving lasting happiness.
Ooh, that sounds exciting. Sign me up.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff. We'll be exploring a sermon transcript today from a YouTube video,
Okay.
and it's called "His Reflection of Eternal Achievement"
Okay.
by an Islamic scholar, Imam Asy-Syatibi. Now, what's really interesting is that his 7 signs of happiness offer insights you can apply no matter what your background or beliefs.
Wow. I'm really interested to hear about this. It's so fascinating how different cultures approach this universal desire for happiness.
Yeah, it really is. Like everybody wants to be happy. Nobody wakes up and is like,
Yeah.
hey, you know what? Today I want to be miserable. So let's see. What can we glean from Imam Asy-Syatibi's wisdom here?
Yeah, let's do it.
So the first sign of a truly happy person, according to the Imam, is the ease with which they perform acts of worship and kindness. He contrasts someone who struggles to pray on time with someone who effortlessly attends congregational prayers, or someone who finds it hard to give charity compared to those who give generously, even when they have less themselves. What stands out to you in this?
You know what? I think it really challenges this notion that happiness is the result of good deeds.
Oh,
It's almost like he's suggesting that happiness is almost a prerequisite.
like you have to already be happy to do these good deeds.
Yeah, and when your actions align with your values, good deeds become a natural extension of who you are,
Right.
rather than just a chore.
Yeah, that's such a good point. It's like when you're genuinely happy, doing good for others just flows out of you. It's not about forcing yourself. It's about that inner harmony. And that kind of leads me to the second sign. So this one focuses on striving to follow the example of the Prophet Muhammad in daily life. And this one might seem very specific to Islam, but I think, when you think about it, don't we all look up to certain figures and try to emulate their qualities?
Yeah, absolutely. Like having positive role models, those can play huge roles in shaping our behaviors and ultimately our happiness.
Yeah, totally.
And, the Imam, he shares this anecdote about the Prophet's advice to eat and drink while sitting, highlighting the health benefits as well as the spiritual reward. It might seem like a small thing, but
it emphasizes finding meaning and purpose, even in these mundane, everyday activities.
Yeah,
It's like when you see those actions as connected to a larger purpose, it infuses them with meaning. It's like every small step is contributing to something much bigger.
absolutely.
Now, the third sign is all about the company you keep.
Okay.
The Imam says surrounding yourself with good and righteous people is crucial for happiness.
Interesting.
It's like that saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah.
He uses this really relatable analogy. He's like, imagine being friends with a perfume seller. Even if they don't give you free perfume, you still benefit from that pleasant scent just by being around them.
I like that. And that's not just anecdotal. There's research that shows, in psychology, that our social circles actually significantly impact our well-being. We tend to kind of adopt the habits and the attitudes of those around us. So surrounding yourself with positive and supportive people can really make a difference in your overall happiness.
Yeah, it's almost like your happiness gets a boost just by being around those right people.
Yeah.
This leads us perfectly into the fourth sign, which is cultivating good character.
Okay.
The Imam emphasizes treating others with kindness and respect, no matter their background.
Yeah. But what do you think makes up good character? Is it something we're born with, or can we actually cultivate it?
That's a good question. I mean, the Imam contrasts kindness with the negative examples of arrogance and pride,
Okay.
symbolized by figures like Pharaoh and Qarun, who, despite their wealth and power, ultimately met unhappy ends.
Yeah. That's a powerful reminder that true happiness isn't about elevating yourself above others.
But it's about connecting with them on a human level.
Right.
The fifth sign focuses on being helpful and useful to others.
Okay.
The Imam says, there's this unique kind of happiness that can't be bought or experienced through material possessions. It's the happiness that comes from helping others in their times of need.
It's like that feeling you get when you know you made a difference in someone's life.
Yeah.
And it ties into this growing body of research that highlights how acts of service actually contribute to our own well-being.
Interesting.
Helping others can provide a sense of meaning and purpose, beyond ourselves. And when we contribute to something larger, whether it's our community or a cause we believe in, it's like we tap into this deeper sense of fulfillment.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. As we delve deeper into these signs, I'm struck by how interconnected they all are. They're not just isolated principles.
Yeah.
But they're facets of this holistic approach to a happy life.
Absolutely.
They build upon each other.
Take, for instance, the link between good character and helping others.
Yeah.
When you genuinely treat people with kindness and respect, wouldn't you say it becomes easier to lend a helping hand?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Which then further boosts your own happiness.
Yeah, it creates this beautiful cycle. And this reminds me of another point that the Imam emphasizes.
Okay.
The importance of intention.
Mm-hmm.
He stresses that it's not just about going through the motions, but it's about approaching every action with sincerity. It's like the difference between just doing something and really meaning it.
Yeah, I agree. Like that inner motivation, that sincerity, it infuses our actions with like meaning and purpose.
Yeah.
Which ultimately contributes to our overall happiness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, the Imam's sixth sign is about showing concern for the well-being of the Muslim community. Now, this might seem specific to Islam, but I think it speaks to this broader concept of social responsibility and its connection to happiness.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that our happiness is intertwined with the well-being of those around us. The Imam gives some powerful examples like showing solidarity with Palestinians and others facing hardship.
Yeah.
It highlights that our actions have a ripple effect on the community.
So it's not just about individual happiness, but about a collective sense of well-being.
Right.
Which feels especially relevant today.
Yeah.
You know, like we're often so disconnected from each other.
Yeah, for sure. It's about shifting our focus from me to we, understanding that our happiness is actually a collective responsibility.
And it really challenges that narrative that happiness is solely about personal gain. Instead, the Imam suggests that true happiness comes from connecting to something larger than ourselves, contributing to the well-being of others.
And this is where faith can play a role.
Okay.
You know, the Imam's message is rooted in Islam, emphasizes serving a higher purpose and striving to create a more just and compassionate world. And it's through that service, that striving, that we find lasting happiness.
Yeah. It's almost like finding your place in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Recognizing that you're part of something much bigger than yourself.
Absolutely.
And this realization can be incredibly liberating. It allows us to tap into this deeper well of joy and fulfillment.
And this idea resonates across various faiths and beliefs too. Like, true happiness comes from connecting to something beyond our ego, transcending our individual desires.
Okay. Now, let's bring it back to something a bit more practical.
Okay.
The seventh and final sign the Imam discusses is the wise management of time. How do you see that playing out in everyday life, especially in today's fast-paced world?
You know, I think it's about being intentional with our time, recognizing that time is this precious resource, and using it wisely to pursue activities that align with our values and bring us joy.
It's about making conscious choices about how we spend our time. If we waste it on things that don't matter, we're essentially squandering our potential for happiness. But it's not just about productivity, though.
Right.
It's also about balance.
Yeah, finding a rhythm in our lives.
Yeah.
That incorporates work and rest, solitary pursuits and social connections.
Okay.
Striving for goals and, you know, enjoying the present moment.
Yeah, finding that sweet spot.
Yeah.
Between pushing yourself to grow and giving yourself permission to simply be. So if we're trying to apply this wisdom to our lives, where do we even begin?
That's a great question. I think it starts with a simple question. What brings you joy? What activities make you feel truly alive and connected?
It's like taking inventory of your life.
Yeah.
Pinpointing those things that spark your soul.
Exactly.
The things that make you lose track of time.
Yeah. And once you've identified those things, it's about making a conscious effort to incorporate them into your routine, even if it's just for a few minutes each day.
Yeah.
Carving out time for those activities that nourish your soul, even if it means saying no to things that don't.
Prioritizing your own happiness. And I think that can be a real challenge in a world that constantly demands our time and attention.
Yeah.
But imagine the positive ripple effect if we all prioritize our happiness and allowed that joy to overflow into our interactions with others.
You know, it takes practice. It takes discipline and a willingness to let go of things that no longer serve us, but the rewards are immeasurable. Yeah. When we prioritize our own happiness, we benefit ourselves and we have more energy and enthusiasm to contribute to the world.
It's like the oxygen mask analogy, right? You have to put on your own mask first before you can help others.
Exactly.
This has been such an insightful conversation. As we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'm curious, what's resonated with you the most so far? What new perspectives have you gained? You know, as we wrap up our deep dive into Imam Asy-Syatibi's 7 Signs of Happiness, I'm struck by how practical his advice is. It's not just lofty philosophy. It's like a roadmap with clear directions that we can implement in our own lives. So we're ready to kind of explore some tangible takeaways.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's revisit that first sign, the ease of performing good deeds.
Okay.
It begins with identifying acts of kindness and worship that resonate with you personally, like what feels fulfilling for you might not be the same for somebody else.
So it's about finding that sweet spot where your passions and values intersect.
Exactly.
And making doing good feel effortless and joyful.
Right. So if you're passionate about animals, perhaps volunteering at a shelter would be a good fit.
Yeah.
If you're moved by the plight of the homeless, maybe donating to a local shelter or volunteering at a soup kitchen, that would bring you that sense of purpose.
Yeah. Small steps can lead to big changes.
Yeah.
Now, what about emulating the Prophet Muhammad? For those unfamiliar with Islamic teachings, this might seem daunting, but I think there are universal lessons here.
Oh, absolutely. It's not about becoming a carbon copy of the prophet, but it's about finding inspiration in his example. Like, look at the qualities he embodied. Compassion, generosity, humility, kindness, and, strive to cultivate them within yourself.
Yeah, it's like choosing a role model whose values you admire and using their example as a guide for your own life. It could be anyone. It could be a parent, a teacher, a mentor, even a fictional character. The key is to focus on small, everyday actions. You don't need to make these drastic changes overnight. Gradual improvements will lead you closer to that ideal self.
Exactly. Rome wasn't built in a day. Now, surrounding yourself with good and righteous people, that third sign might seem straightforward, but I think there's more to it than simply being around nice people.
Yeah, I agree. It's about being intentional about the company you keep.
Yeah.
Seeking relationships that uplift and inspire you, and maybe being mindful of those relationships that kind of drain your energy.
Right.
So it's about actively cultivating those relationships that nourish your soul, support your growth, bring you joy.
And this applies to all kinds of relationships too. Friends, family, colleagues, even like who you follow on social media. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, challenge you, make you want to be better.
It's like curating your social circle to be this source of positive energy. Now, the fourth sign, cultivating good character, feels really important, but also a bit abstract.
Yeah.
How do we actually do that?
Well, I think it starts with self-awareness. Take an honest look at yourself. Identify your strengths and weaknesses and be willing to work on those areas where you need to grow.
It's about having the courage to face yourself.
Yeah.
Both the good and the bad. And then actively working on those aspects you want to improve.
It takes practice. A willingness to be uncomfortable, stepping outside your comfort zone. But the rewards are immense. When we cultivate good character, we benefit ourselves, and we also create a more positive world.
Yeah, our actions have this ripple effect that extends far beyond ourselves.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the fifth sign, being helpful and useful to others, resonates really deeply with me. I love that idea of making a positive impact.
And helping others doesn't have to be a grand gesture.
Yeah.
It can be listening to a friend, offering a hand to a neighbor, donating to a cause you believe in. Small acts of kindness, they can add up to something extraordinary.
Yeah, and those small acts can make you feel pretty extraordinary too.
Find ways to help that align with your passions and skills. So if you're a great listener, volunteer at a crisis hotline. If you're a skilled writer, offer your services to a nonprofit.
Yeah. Find that sweet spot where your talents and your desire to help intersect. Now, the sixth sign, showing concern for the well-being of the Muslim community, while specific to Islam, carries this universal message about compassion and social responsibility.
It's recognizing that we're all part of a larger community, and our actions impact those around us. Extend your circle of compassion beyond just your immediate circle. Encompass your community, both locally and globally.
Think globally. Act locally. Finally, the seventh sign, the wise management of time, feels crucial in our fast-paced world filled with distractions.
Absolutely. It's about being intentional with your time, setting priorities, making conscious choices about how you spend it, and learning to say no to things that don't align with your values or your goals.
Take control of your time instead of letting it control you.
Exactly. And it's not about becoming a productivity machine. It's about finding that balance, a balance that allows you to pursue your passions, nurture relationships, contribute to the world, and take care of your own well-being.
So there you have it. Imam Asy-Syatibi's 7 Signs of Happiness. This has been such an incredible journey exploring his wisdom. And you know what? His message is timeless and universal. It speaks to the human heart, regardless of background or belief. It's a reminder that the pursuit of happiness is a journey we're all on together. And while the path might look different for each of us, the destination is the same. A life filled with meaning, purpose, and joy. Keep searching for what brings you joy. Keep cultivating those positive habits. And keep contributing to the world around you. Until next time, keep diving deep.